This is my review of The Promised Neverland, Chapter 149, Duty to Attest. And it essentially starts out with Emma and Ray just splitting up because apparently they've already studied all the maps of the Demon Palace enough to know that that window right there that they've seen is the only way in, and therefore they need to go separate ways here. And in order to do that, they also need to be able to fly because they're being thrown 30 feet in the air. Okay? I'm just hoping Ray ends up having a role in all this, because if they came ultimately together just for Ray to be like, oh, I had to give her the lift up, so now she has to do it all by herself, and I'll meet her with the end, that would be like really bad writing. I hope Ray goes, sees people, does something, has some kind of role in what happens next. Anyway, back to the whole fight in the royal chambers. Yeah, it turns out Doza, the guy that was easily crushed by one of Galen's supporters, not even Galen himself, he was the second strongest in terms of military power, next to only the queen herself. So yeah, that's pretty freaking interesting. But Duke Yverk also realizes that Galen and his gang could not have been the ones that raided the Lambda farms, because if they had, they wouldn't have looked quite so monstrous when they showed up. I'm pretty sure that's just saying that they would have returned to a more human-like appearance if they'd been eating all that human meat. But I also think it might be possible that the Lambda kids, all of them, are essentially been injected with the blood of the evil-blooded woman, or some variation of it, which gives them essentially anyone who eats from them becomes essentially immortal. I'm iffy on that one, because the plan is essentially for Lambda meat to go to the masses, and they wouldn't want the masses to obtain immortality, because that would make them weaker. But yeah, Duke Yverk realizes, okay, that's not this guy. So who could have been done this? This execution, this capability. Who could have possibly figured all this out? Never once even thinking that, oh, it was a human. He still refers to the Lambda breakout as a theft of meat. He is really underestimating them. Also, we find out that Yverk has essentially been the center of the government, more or less running everything since the time of the previous king. So Queenie really doesn't want to risk him getting killed, or she'd probably lose her kingdom anyway, so she takes over. And Galen's men go to attack her, and she essentially kills all of them like it's nothing. She has these super long fingernails that can just basically cut heads in half. Very terrifying. I guess that, pierces the main eye, which means they can't regenerate from that. Another little flashback. Turns out Galen's men, they all basically essentially said, no, Galen didn't do this. And they said, you monster! You go against the queen, then we shall exile you too, unless you say you're sorry. Like, we're not going to say we're sorry. Then I'm going to exile you. So they all got exiled along with Galen because they just had so much faith and loyalty in him. And even then, after all this, after they essentially returned to the wild and his wife and other family members were just dead from the process or from starvation or whatever, more appeared for him. His own citizens from his own kingdom showed up, and they basically said, please, eat us so that you can run away, so that you can survive. We only live because you were so nice to us, Lord Galen, so please, go ahead. This definitely didn't sit well with Galen, because he was, all about protecting the lower class people, and now he's essentially started eating them. Definitely hurts his soul a little bit there. It's probably where this whole let's kill all the demons in the capital plan started sounding like a good idea to him. Anyway, they all keep attacking the queen, keep going after her, trying to take her out, and they just cannot do it. She's literally just cutting their heads off like it's nothing. Thankfully, though, even we knew we wouldn't be able to defeat the royal family. So they're all freaking suicide bombers. Yeah, did not see that coming. And as they say, long live King Galen, as they explode. This is certainly enough to make Duke Yverk and her attendants think that she's seriously injured. I'm not sure if it's enough to actually kill her, though. I think it'd be more like what happened with Archbishop Louis, whatever his name was, where the flash bombs and the repeatedly all that just weakened his senses to the point where they were able to come in and actually kill him finally. So yeah, I don't think she's fully dead, but I think she's close enough where either Norman and his group can show up and kill the survivors or something. I'm not sure which. Though, again, we got a very interesting fact right here. Duke Yorvik is essentially the one who runs everything, the entire freaking government. So even though a bunch of the regent houses have been killed, and even if the queen is murdered right here and now, that doesn't actually change anything because Emma and Ray can still negotiate with Duke Yorvik about how to make peace. He also comes off as like the religious person, so if Emma managed to convince him, hey, I talked to your God and he told you to be nice to me, he'd like, oh, okay, if God said so, why not? Oh, that's a problem when you have a God who doesn't really care about you. So yeah, next week I'm assuming Queen's still alive, at least a little bit. Gonna be a battle, try to kill her, and Norman's group are gonna come in and try to poison all the survivors. Emma's gonna show up, try to talk them out of it. Somehow convince everyone, hey, I talked to God. It was fun. I probably had to sacrifice my own life to get him to agree to it, but okay. See what happens with that. And then, still not sure. Honestly, I thought this would take much, much longer to reach this point. I figured, each of the regent houses would be its own separate battle, like a battle against Lord Bayon, a battle against Lady Gnome, a battle against Lord Doza. Each of them would do their own separate fight with different groups of people, and some Normans are regulars, but instead, just like, nope, they're all dead. Now it's just Galeen is whoever his men are still alive, the Queen and Duke Yorvik, and that's it. We kill everyone in this room, there's essentially no government, and the entire demon society is going to break. Yay. So, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Is the Queen dead? If not, can they kill her? Is she even injured? That's something I didn't even discuss the possibility of. I mean, could she have suffered through all this and just like stand up and be like, I am fine, for I am your queen? Let me know. Be sure to like, subscribe. Till next time.
Peace.